Hey guys, coming at you today with a kitchen video of sorts. I'm not actually in my kitchen. You can probably tell that. I'm in my basement. I'm planning to go through my deep freeze today, pull everything out, see what I have, make a little inventory of contents. The freezer needs to be defrosted, which is never a fun job. And I didn't realize the hassle that a non-frost-free freezer would cause me when I bought this thing. It was so significantly cheaper than getting a frost-free upright deep freeze. And so I thought, hey, what the heck, I can save a few dollars. And I really wish that I would have bought a frost-free freezer. So it needs to be defrosted a couple times a year just to keep it running at better efficiency and not have the frost building up. I'm going to pull everything out. And thankfully it's winter right now, so I can just put everything outside on the deck and that'll be my freezer while the freezer is thawing out. So let's get to work. It's been a process of trial and error learning to use an upright freezer because this is the first one I've ever had. And after one instance of somebody leaving the door open a crack, we walked in here and there was a puddle on the floor and there were meat juices dripping throughout the freezer. And it was a mess. Thankfully, we didn't lose much. Meat that was thawing, we were able to just take it up to the fridge and use it pretty quickly, and we didn't lose very much food. But it definitely taught me some lessons about how to pack a freezer properly and what is most efficient for us. So at the top, I keep basically just bread at the top, because if the freezer stays open and stuff starts to thaw and melt, there's no problem with bread. It's not going to drip. It's not going to make a mess. So I keep bread at the top. And then in the second shelf here, I have a bucket of flour, pasta, I don't know, just kind of convenience foods, more bread. And then once we move our way down, I've got frozen berries and chicken stock. And then the meat stays at the bottom so that if we were to have things start thawing, it's the coldest at the bottom. And so the meat will stay frozen longer down there and it's not going to drip all over everything. The door is a bit of a mystery to me. Everything, obviously it gets the most warm air with the door opening and closing. I can't leave things in the door that I want to stay frozen long term. If I plan on storing it for any significant amount of time, it has to go into the body of the freezer. So in the door, I keep butter and frozen vegetables because we go through those quickly enough that they're not going to get freezer burnt if I keep them in the door. And then stuff for pizza, all our pizza topping stuff is down here. So I make batches of pizza sauce and then I freeze the amount that we need for pizza night in a container. And then I also separate my pineapple and ham and pepperoni. I just freeze it in the portions that we need for pizza night, and then I can pull it all out the day before and everything thaws and it's ready to go. That's about all I have in here. And I keep meal prepped meat at the bottom. So I'll pull out a container of already cooked, chopped chicken breasts that I throw in salads. So that's all usually down in the bottom here, but I'm running low. And that's part of why I wanted to do this today, just to get a handle on what do I have? What am I low on? Are there things that I should prep so that they're ready in the freezer? Is there stuff that I have a lot of and I know I don't need to buy that at the store when I see it on sale? So let's see what we've got. I have whole wheat buns, 2 bags of them, plus a bag of white rolls, a whole wheat bread that's not sliced, which is a bit of a problem because then I have to use it all at once. I didn't realize it was unsliced when I got it. So one of these days I'm just going to have to pull it out and slice it. And then a raisin bread, rye bread for sandwiches, pitas. We are not big pita users. And the more they sit around, the more stale they get and less enjoyable they are to eat. So I don't know what I'm going to do with those. And then I have half a bag of thin buns, 2 packages of tortillas in there. I use those for quesadillas. And one of my kids likes them for taco night to make burritos. The rest of the kids like smaller tortillas. So I'll get this medium size, or sometimes I buy these tiny ones that are like 4-inch diameter that the kids really like it's really good for the little kids, the 2 and the 5-year-old, because then they actually feel like they've eaten a substantial amount of food, and we feel like they've eaten something when they actually eat what's on their plate, even if it's only a 4-inch burrito. And these I got at Dollar Tree, so occasionally they'll have good stuff. The tortillas are not always the nicest there, but those ones are good. And then cornbread, I bake it in a cast iron pan, and we'll eat half of a pan with a pot of chili, and then I put the other half in the freezer for the next time. So I think that is all of my bread. Then I also like to freeze things like scones that haven't been baked. So I'll just prep a giant batch of scones, whether they're pumpkin or cranberry orange are usually the ones that I make. So I'll make a big batch, I'll chop them into their triangles, and then freeze them on a baking sheet. And then once they're frozen, I load them into a bag. And that way we can make scones pretty easily without having to go to the trouble of mixing them up every time. So I think that's all of my bread stuff. I'm just going to put this bag of flour in here. I keep my whole wheat flour in the freezer so that the oils don't go rancid, because I don't go through whole wheat flour very quickly, but it is really good to have to put into all my baking. I like to do a mix of all-purpose and whole wheat. So that's the bread stuff. Now I need another basket. Still have ice cream hiding up here from the summer. We usually will have one container of ice cream in our freezer upstairs, and then if we have extra ice cream, it stays down here. But obviously you can't scoop it if it's being stored in the deep freeze, so we just take one up at a time. Cranberries that were a steal of a deal after Christmas, so I had to buy them. And then these are bags of frozen pumpkin. Cholula. And then I have jars of yeast. I keep a small jar in my fridge. And then whatever's left from the big bag that I buy at Costco, I just store it in my freezer. It lasts forever that way. 2 frozen pizzas. I don't think I'm buying more frozen pizza after we finish these, because we like our fresh homemade pizza so much better that it's just nobody wants to eat it. 1 bag of tortellini. And my bucket of whole wheat flour. Okay. Now I have a ton of berries and fruit here. This should be down here. 2 big bags of sour cherries that I picked in the summer from a friend's tree, and I still need to make a pie. So I should make that a priority. And then Saskatoon berries. A friend of mine has a Saskatoon berry orchard on her farm, and so we picked a bunch of berries there this summer. I hope that basket doesn't break when I take it upstairs. A box of taquitos with only 4 left, so clearly we don't need that box anymore. What else do I have here? This is a container of chili. I like to make my chili probably 3 to 4 batches in one pot so that I don't have to make it often. And then I'll just pull that out and thaw it the day or 2 days before we're going to eat it. And these are soup. This was a really sweet meal prep hack that I found in a book where you make your big pot of soup. And normally I will freeze it in a container like this, so the whole family will eat this for lunch with a bag of buns. But not everybody always wants to eat soup at the same time, so I'd have single serve bowls of soup in paper coffee cups. So I just scooped them into here and then froze them again on a baking sheet in the freezer. The hardest part was walking from the kitchen down the stairs with this baking sheet full of liquid soup, trying to make sure that I didn't trip on any toys, because that would have been disastrous. And now we're down to the meat and broth. Oh, I think I have more. Oh no, that's okay. I have frozen vegetables back there. So this is chicken broth. I try to freeze them too in the amounts that I'll need for soup and stuff. So either 4 or 8 cup portions. I've done it in smaller portions, but I don't need a smaller amount than that. So that's what I do with the chicken broth. And then my meat. This is a sirloin tip oven roast. And then in this box, I've got meatballs and hot dogs. Hot dogs are not getting any love now that it's winter. Chicken legs were on sale, and so I stocked up on these. I'm going to have to put 2 in my fridge because we're eating them tomorrow. I really should have pulled them out sooner. So I'll put 2 in the fridge and 2 will come back in here. And then I have 2 boxes of chicken breast, 4 cups of shredded zucchini.
Whoa.
And what are these? Pureed beets for making beet cake. My daughter makes this beet cake, and it also requires applesauce in it. So I blend the beets with the applesauce and throw it all in the freezer. She hasn't been making it, so they're just sitting here. Let me have down here and pork shoulder picnic roast. And mastiff carve ham. All right, I picked this up at Costco at Christmas because it was on sale. When they had these on sale, they were $5 off per package. So my trick with meat, if they mark down the meat prices, usually Costco does it this way where they'll say this many dollars off per package. Then I look for the absolute smallest piece of meat that I can find because the discount's better. The price per pound is the cheapest if you're buying the smallest piece. We'll just buy more than one piece if you want more. But that's my trick to save even more money when they put meat on sale at Costco. This is chicken size that I already pre-cooked. I really like pre-cooking my meat so that it makes cooking supper so much easier when my meat's already cooked, because that's half the work done for you right there. And then my ground beef is down here. Sometimes I freeze it when it's raw, which is what this box is. So I have 9 packs that are 1.5 pounds each in here. And then these ones are already cooked. If I buy a big package of meat, I'll just throw it in my Instant Pot and then it cooks it for me. I don't have to smell it. I hate the smell of cooking ground beef, and my family loves eating ground beef. And so thankfully I found a workaround and I don't have to smell it most of the time. And then we come to the door. So I need a box for all my vegetables. I just brought these home yesterday, and my kids didn't arrange them in a way that makes it obvious what anything is. So I'm learning along with the garden veggies, winter veggies, peas, green beans, open bag of peas, another open bag of peas, corn, even an open bag of corn that I forgot I had. One more box. Hopefully we'll do the trick here. Dill that I got from my brother's garden in the summer. And I don't make a lot of stuff with dill, but it's really good in a few soups that I make. So it's here for when I need that. Bag of broccoli. And then all my pizza stuff is in this shelf. So I have 3 containers of pizza sauce, 3 packs of pepperoni, 1 ham, 1 pineapple. Do you like pineapple on pizza? Seems to be a very controversial thing. We like ham and pineapple pizza, and even the kid who doesn't like pineapple has started to come around to eating it, so call that a win. Meatballs, and a container of pesto, the container of Parmesan cheese. This too, I buy a big block of it from Costco, and I just run it through my food processor. And I think I get about 2.5 containers like this, and then I just freeze it, and I don't have to worry about it going bad in my fridge and pull it out when I need it. So there we go. Oh, I missed an entire shelf. 2 butters, a bag of mixed veggies, and this is Saskatoon berry sauce, which I probably will use for pancakes or waffles or for cake. We don't need a lot of cake. It came because somebody brought cake and Saskatoon berry sauce, but I don't think we'll use it for cake. And then my water bottle that I use for massaging sore feet. Okay, that'll do it. I'm going to take this stuff all outside. I'm going to let this freezer thaw, and then I'll come back and load it all back in. And here you can see my secondary Canadian freezer. I just brought everything outside, set it on the deck. It'll keep it cold enough until I'm ready to move it back into the freezer. But I just finished taking everything outside, and this is almost done thawing. So this is going so much quicker than the last time I did this because I didn't let the ice and the frost build up as long. In the past, I've opened up the drain and tried to drain it out the front, but it tends to make more of a mess than I think this is going to be. So this time I'm just mopping it up with towels in the bottom. I'm experimenting. We'll see how it turns out. So hopefully it'll finish up pretty quick, and then we can get everything moved back in. It's all defrosted. I've wiped it down with a towel. That is a huge difference. I should have shown you what the full frost effect was like before I started thawing it, but this is an incredible improvement, and I'm really glad that I did the towel method in the bottom instead of opening that drain at the bottom. I don't know if you can see at the back. That just makes such a mess everywhere because they don't have a good place for the drain to actually open up on the front of the freezer. It comes out of this little thing here, and it just leaks all over the floor because no, it doesn't even come out there. You have to take this vent thing off the bottom, and then there's a little hole that it leaks out, and it's not high up enough to put something underneath to catch the water, so it just ends up everywhere. So I just got by with a little help from my friends here, and we're good to go. I'm going to go start hauling everything back inside. I'll put it back in the freezer, and then I'll plug it in and let it get cold again. Okay, so I got my vegetables in the door. I put my whole wheat flour on the top shelf this time. I don't need to access it that often. I should clarify, I have a smaller container upstairs. I don't only store my whole wheat flour in the freezer. I have a smaller container in my baking cupboard, and then when it gets empty, I just refill it from here. So now I'm going to put my meat in the bottom, and I thought I would work my way up, but I'll probably just work my way through what's closest to my feet here and go from there. Okay, I want to know, do you use cardboard boxes to store stuff in your freezer, or do you buy special containers for the freezer? I'm kind of the opinion it's silly to spend money on something you can get for free. So I'll just use a cardboard box when I can do that instead of buying a whatever clear resin lovely looking container for $30 that would do the same job. But now I'm wondering, after defrosting this whole thing, does cardboard, I know it absorbs moisture, so if I'm storing stuff in cardboard, am I contributing to the frost problem in the freezer by storing stuff in cardboard instead of in freezer bins? Let me know if you have any insight. Okay, so the stock, this is chili, and then chicken stock for soups. This is just more whole wheat flour that I couldn't put in. So I'm emptying that first. And then tortillas, I wonder, it can go here. Oh, I forgot about my ice cream at the back. That was a good place to keep it because I don't need to reach it often. It's over here somewhere. Cornbread I like to store on top of my chili. If I have a container of chili in the freezer, that way it doesn't get forgotten. When we go reach for the chili, then we bring the cornbread up too. Scones. And that basket's done. And they'll do the door stop. This is chicken. Guess I'll keep it here. Yeast. Okay, stay down here to stay cold. Okay, that's it. I've got everything back in, and I did make myself a lovely little freezer inventory here so that I'm aware of everything that's actually in here. And then, so I know I have a lot of chicken now, thankfully. I was able to stock up on chicken recently, so I don't need to buy any for a while. And I see that I need more stuff for baking. We have 15 scones left in that bag, and then we're out. So I think I'll do up a couple of batches of scones and that up so that we have stuff to bake in the future. Do you have a frost-free deep freeze? And is it worth the extra money? Because I kind of feel like it would be. But this definitely worked better, soaking it all up with the towels. So less painful experience than it was the last time. How often do you do this? Do you inventory your freezer? And do you have a specific method for working through your stuff? I don't really have a method because I like to know what I have and then I use it. I didn't show you what's in my upstairs freezer right now. And that's all just kind of stuff we need within easy reach. Vegetables would be something that normally I would keep upstairs, but it seems to be working just to send a kid down here to get some when we need them for supper. So yeah, I didn't show you that today. Maybe another day. Thanks for joining me, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.